Wow. There's really, every time is perfect for reading. And I am really glad to be here for March's Reading Month. And I chose a book to read to you that is silly, because some books are just fun and silly. Do you know Dr. Seuss?
Yes.
I love Dr. Seuss. And some books are fun just to read in quiet in your head, and some books are so fun to say out loud.
Is that Dr. Seuss?
It is a Dr. Seuss, because they make rhymes, don't they? Yeah. And some of Dr. Seuss's books are so funny and so silly. And some other ones aren't just silly. Some other ones have something to tell us if we listen with all the fun words. Does anybody know this book? You know this book. The Lorax. It's one of my favorites. And we're going to read just part of it. Just part of it, because it's kind of a long book. So I'm going to read part of it to you, and it's so fun. I love reading. I love the way Dr. Seuss makes words sound together in his rhymes. It's so fun. There's something else about that book, isn't there? Is there a message in the Lorax book for us? You know what? Put your thinking caps on, and when I start reading this, we're going to talk, after I stop, just a little bit about the message that's in the book. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know it.
You already know it. Don't tell. Don't tell yet. Okay. Everybody sit down, and here is Dr. Seuss's The Lorax. Oh, it truly is one of my favorites. At the far end of town, where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing, excepting old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the crickle grass, some people say if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood, just as long as it could, before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax, and why was it there, and why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, the old Onceler still lives here. Ask him. He knows. You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkin on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkin, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of muffered moof. And on special dark, dank midnights in August, he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. On the end of the rope, he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents and a nail, and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather snail. Then he pulls up the pail, makes a most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you've paid him away in his snubby, his secret strange hole in his grovelous glove. And he grunts, I will call you by whisper-ma-phone, for the secrets I tell you are for your ears alone. Sloop! Down slops the whisper-ma-phone to your ear, and the old Onceler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through the snurgly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax was lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean. One morning, and the song of the swami swans rang out in space. One morning I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees, those truffula trees, the bright-colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under the trees I saw brown barbaloots frisking about in their barbaloot suits as they played in the shade of the truffula fruits. From the rippleless pond came the comfortable sound of the hummingfish humming while splashing around. Sounds like a pretty special place, doesn't it? But those trees, those truffula trees. All my life I'd been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. In no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop. And with great skillful skill and a great speedy speed, I took the small tuft of the truffula and I knitted a thneed. The instant I finished, I heard a gazump. I looked, I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I chopped down. It was a sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. "Mister," he said with a sawdusty sneeze, "I'm the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues. And I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs," he was very upset as he shouted and puffed, "what's that thing you made out of my truffula tuft?" "Look, Lorax," I said, "there's no cause for alarm. I just chopped one tree. I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneed's find something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat. But it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets and pillows for sheets or curtains or covers for bicycle seats." The Lorax said, "Sir, you are crazy with greed. There's no one on earth who would buy that fool thneed." Ooh, do you think? Ooh. But the very next minute I proved he was wrong, for just at that minute a chap came along and he thought that the thneed I had knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. "You poor stupid guy, you never can tell what some people will buy." "I repeat," said the Lorax, "I speak for the trees." "I'm busy," I told him. "Shut up, if you please." I rushed across the room and in no time at all built a radio phone and I put in a quick call. I called all my brothers and uncles and aunts and I said, "Listen here. Here's a wonderful chance for the whole Onceler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast. Take the road to North Nitch, turn left at Weehawken, sharp right at South Stitch." And in no time at all, a factory I built. The whole Onceler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting thneeds, just as busy as bees to the sound of the chopping of the truffula trees. Then, oh baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which hacked off 4 truffula trees in one smacker. We were making thneeds 4 times fast as before, and the Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. But next week he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, "I'm the Lorax who speaks for the trees which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please, but I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits and happily lived eating truffula fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go around. And my poor barbaloots are all getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies." I'm going to stop here. I'm going to stop here because I think we have about half of the book to go.